kurniamu yang tidak ternilai. Jadikanlah kami hamba-hambamu yang sentiasa bersyukur di atas nikmat yang melimpah ruah kepada kami. Ya Allah, Ya Alim, sesungguhnya Engkau maha mengetahui bahawa kami di sini ingin menimba ilmu-Mu yang sangat luas.
Parit Sulong today. Adalah satu penghormatan bagi kami dengan penuh rasa kesyukuran. Pada pagi ini kami bersama-sama berkumpul di antara rakyat Malaysia dan Australia hadir dalam suasana aman di Taman Peringatan Parit Sulong untuk mengingati sejarah hitam tentera bersekutu yang berani dan orang awam tempatan yang telah berkorban di sini pada 22 Januari 1942. Parit Sulong adalah lokasi penting dalam siri kempen peperangan dunia kedua di Tanah Melayu. Parit Sulong adalah lokasi terakhir dalam pertempuran MUAR antara pihak tentera Berikat dengan tentera Jepun. Bagi pihak Australia, kempen peperangan di Tanah Melayu di antara 1941 hingga Februari 1942 adalah antara yang paling sukar, pedih dan yang paling mahal. Lebih daripada 1,780 tentera Australia telah terkorban dan lebih daripada 15,000 orang prajurit telah dijadikan tawanan perang. Tragedi 81 tahun yang lepas itu telah mengeratkan hubungan dua negara bagi memperingati kisah tragis yang telah mengorbankan ramai tawanan perang di Tanah Melayu. Kita berkongsi satu sejarah dan berkongsi kemerdekaan yang diperjuangkan sebelum mencapai kemenangan. Kita patut melindungi taman peringatan ini kerana ia menjadi bukti jelas mengenai satu tragedi yang dialami akibat perang dan bagi membantu mereka yang melawatinya memahami apa yang pernah berlaku di sini. Ia bukanlah sekadar sebuah tempat peringatan yang bersejarah, malah sebuah tempat pendidikan bagi mengenang suatu peristiwa silam. Kita berharap keamanan yang dihadapi akan berkekalan dan kita tidak boleh menggunakan mana-mana pihak pun untuk menggaguh-gugat apa yang kita nikmati pada hari ini. Kita seharusnya tidak lupa pengorbanan orang-orang yang berjuang semasa perang hingga kita boleh menikmati kehidupan yang lebih baik pada hari ini. Oleh itu, Galeri Parit Sulong dan Kelab Mengkaji Tapak Pertempuran akan terus berdedikasi dalam memperingati perwira yang gugur serta menyimpan secebis daripada kisah kehidupan mereka. Ini adalah sangat penting untuk kita dan anak-anak kita menjadikan peringatan bahawa ia adalah sebahagian daripada sejarah yang mesti kita ketahui tentang apa yang kita telah hilang. Dan kebebasan yang kita nikmati sekarang adalah hasil perjuangan mereka. Semoga acara ini akan dapat diteruskan lagi bagi tahun-tahun hadapan dan menjadi satu catatan kalender acara tahunan di negeri Johor, khususnya di Parit Sulong. Mungkin acara ini boleh mengembangkan pelbagai potensi lain bagi penduduk Parit Sulong khususnya. Sekian, remember Parit Sulong, lest we forget. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih di atas ucapan daripada Encik Farid bin Abdul Jalil, wakil dari Galeri Parit Sulong. Seterusnya, dengan segala hormat dijemput Encik Muhammad Aziz Arba'in, penyelaras program Majlis Peringatan Parit Sulong dan juga Presiden Kelab Mengkaji Tapak Pertempuran Perang Dunia Kedua Negeri Johor. Dipersilakan.
Okey, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Saya akan berikan ucapan dalam bahasa Inggeris jika tuan-tuan tidak kesah ya. Okey, untuk menghormati tetamu kita di sini yang akan meninggalkan Malaysia pada 28 hari bulan kerana tamat tugas. Okay, good morning to Komander Michael Doncaster, Conspicuous Service Medal, Royal Australian Navy, and also to Wing Commander Mark Edwards. Thank you, sirs, for coming. Terima kasih kepada Tuan Major Ridwan kerana telah mewakili Panglima. Kepada wakil-wakil yang hadir, terima kasih Tuan, wakil daripada Tuan D.O. dan juga wakil veteran. Secara jujurnya saya ingin ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua pihak yang telah hadir pada hari ini. Thank you very much for coming today, even from Kuala Lumpur, as far as from Kuala Lumpur, because this is the first event of such being handled here in Parit Sulong. For your information, we have the same ceremony in 2007 and also in 2014, and that's the last of it, right, sir? So I hope that with Commander Mike Edwards being here, we can collaborate for the future events. And to Panglima, thank you very much for the wonderful souvenir that he gave to us, which is very surprisingly that he also mentioned that he loves history so much. This is very positive vibe for us. And thank you very much to Cik Parit from Parit Sulong for being to collaborate with my club, and Cik Bahar, the humble person and very loyal safekeeper of the Gallery Parit Sulong. Thank you, sir. Right, so for this morning, we're going to start with this formal speech. After this, Commander Michael will be giving his speech. And then we are going to do some memorial service for the fallen. Dan diharapkan tuan-tuan nanti dapat memberi bertafakur selama seminit selepas tiupan bugler tu tuang. Selama 1 minit kita akan sedekahkan Al-Fatihah dan juga bertafakurlah untuk yang Islam kita akan sedekahkan Al-Fatihah. Dengan ini saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua barisan rezeki yang telah terlibat dan juga seluruh penduduk Parit Sulong yang hadir pada hari ini. To all the veterans, we want to say thank you very much for your service. You have do a lot. Some give some, few give all. Right. So with that, I would like to end my speech here and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
Terima kasih di atas ucapan itu sebentar tadi. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to heartily invite Commander Michael Doncaster, for Special Service Medal, Royal Australian Navy, the Assistant Defence Advisor for the Australian High Commission, Kuala Lumpur, to deliver his speech.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Major Mohammed Redwan bin Marshall, representing Brigadier General Mohammed Surya Mohammed Saad, Commander 7 Brigade, Representative Batin Fahad, District Officer, Chief Haji Muzamil, Representative Yongpeng City Council, Chief Mohammed Nazreen bin Sahia, Chief Mohammed Farid bin Abdul Jalil, Gallery Parit Sulong, Chief Azri Abang, Remembrance Day Coordinator, Veterans. Hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, selamat pagi. Nama saya Komander Michael Doncaster, penolong penasihat Tanah di Suruhanjaya Tinggi Australia, Kuala Lumpur. Before I do the formal part of my speech, I would just like to thank Chief Azri and the Gallery Parit Sulong for putting this on today. As we've been told, this is the first one in a long time here at a very important site for the memory of, or for the battles that have happened on the peninsula in 1942. That we're able to attend today to represent is a very special occasion for me. This will be my last formal occasion in the country, and it's very important because I've been pushing hard within our own circles to ensure that this place is honoured and remembered, and hopefully in the near future we will be able to get a suitably high-ranked official to come down here on a day like today to honour the hard work that all of you in the community have done for the memory of those brave Australians, Indians, and equally importantly, Malay people who lost their lives in the Japanese advance down the peninsula. So for all of you who have worked very hard today, thank you very much. Today we commemorate the 81st anniversary of the Battle of Parit Sulong, one of the final acts in the Battle of MUAR and the larger Malaya campaign that occurred along the Malaysian peninsula early in 1942. The tragedy that unfolded here on the 22nd of January 1942 was the culmination of 7 days of hard fighting at close quarters under appalling conditions against a determined, battle-hardened and fresh Japanese Guard division who had air superiority and tank support. The Australian and Indian troops were worn out and were without air or armour support. They were almost out of ammunition and medical supplies, and the number of dead and wounded were mounting every minute. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Anderson, the commanding officer of the 2nd 19th Battalion of the Australian Imperial Force, was the only commanding officer still alive of the 5 battalions that fought here. Four others, including the brigade commander, Brigadier Duncan, had fallen in battle. The heroic and desperate sacrifices made by the 4th 9th Jap Regiment, the 7th 6th Rajaputana Rifles, and the 518 Gawa Rifles of the 45th Indian Infantry Battalion, and the 2nd 29th Battalion AIF from the Australian 27th Brigade, and the 2nd 19th Battalion AIF also from the Australian 22nd Brigade in the defence of MUAR and the withdrawal to Parit Sulong, fought valuable times for the withdrawal of other forces and saved the destruction of West Force. When the column was 600 metres short of the bridge behind us, Lieutenant Colonel Anderson discovered the Japanese had moved by sea and coastal roads from MUAR and seized the Yongpeng Road, 10 kilometres behind Parit Sulong. The bridge and the crossroads from the coast to Yongpeng were all in enemy control. Anderson was surrounded. He decided to attack the bridge immediately and left a small advance party forward to establish an assembly area for the attack. Approximately 600 metres from the edge of the village, a party of over 100 Japanese lying in ambush opened fire on the advance group, and a counter-attack was immediately mounted with Green carriers and air support. Green carriers in support. During the action, enemy tanks had attacked the rear of the column and had overrun the rear guard. The tanks were stopped by 2-pounders and 25-pounders firing over open sights. The transports carrying the wounded could not move off the road due to the deep drainage ditches and the boggy ground of the plantations surrounding the area. The columns were repeatedly strafed by aircraft, artillery and small arms fire, and they suffered large numbers of casualties. The brave Indians attacked from the west of the bridge, and after hard fighting managed to gain a toehold on the northern bank of the Simpangkiri River. From here they could fire into the Japanese across the river in support of the Australians, who were still trying to fight through the village. The Australians finally cleared the village, estimating 500 to 600 Japanese killed during the action, but intense fire from the other side of the bridge prevented further advance. The Japanese increased pressure on the rear of the column with further air attacks later that afternoon. At 1700, at the height of the aerial attack, shelling and small arms fire intensified, and the suffering of the wounded became terrible. The two regimental medical orderlies from the 2nd 29th and the 2nd 19th Battalions could do nothing to ease the suffering and discussed the possibility of surrendering the most seriously wounded to the Japanese, hoping for medical aid and protection of the Red Cross. That evening, the most seriously wounded were taken forward onto the bridge under the white flag. The Japanese commander agreed to allow the wounded safe passage only if Lieutenant Colonel Anderson and his troops surrendered. If not, he said, the Japanese would leave the ambulances on the bridge as a roadblock, and any attempt to rescue them would result in the ambulances and the soldiers in them being machine gunned. Later that night, under the cover of intense fire, two intrepid soldiers crawled forward and released the handbrakes of the ambulances and rolled them back down the bridge and then drove them back to the perimeter. On January 22, the column continued to be bombarded and strafed, and the wounded continued to suffer. Another Japanese bayonet charge, supported by tanks, was halted at 2000 hours that evening, after the tanks were destroyed by the 2-pounder guns and grenades. The situation became desperate. The wounded were being slaughtered, and the rear was collapsing. Constant shelling and small arms fire were depleting the worn-out troops as the casualties mounted. Anderson decided on one last attempt to break through to the bridge. He ordered A Company 2nd 19th Battalion to move forward and attempt to rush the heavily fortified bridge. They cleared the first roadblock, but met withering machine gun fire as they rounded the first obstacle. The attack failed, and even more casualties were taken. With his ammunition exhausted, the casualty numbers mounting, and with no chance of relief, Lieutenant Colonel Anderson was faced with an unenviable decision. He could surrender his force or stand and fight to the last man, or leave his wounded and his equipment and slip away in small groups across country towards Yongping. He did the only thing he could. He ordered the destruction of the carriers, the guns, the transport, and withdrew, with those who were still standing, and headed eastwards through the swamp and jungle for Yongping. For his courage under fire and leadership throughout this action, Lieutenant Colonel Anderson was awarded the Victoria Cross. In only a few days, the 45th Indian Brigade had ceased to exist as a fighting unit. Out of the original 4,000 Australian and Indian soldiers, only 271 from the 2nd 19th and 130 from the 2nd 29th and 400 from the 45th Indian Brigade survived to make it to Yongping. 163 wounded soldiers and their volunteer carers were left behind. They were subsequently massacred by their captors. The story of the horrors visited on the defenceless, wounded Australian and Indian soldiers was recorded in detail by Lieutenant Ben Hackney of the 2nd 29th Battalion, who feigning death survived and escaped. On the 27th of February 1942, 36 days after his escape, Lieutenant Hackney was recaptured and taken with other POWs to Changi Jail, where many of the prisoners who had been captured on the peninsula were sent. My grandfather among them. He survived the war and returned to Australia and would later testify in the war crimes trials that followed the war. As a result of Hackney's testimony, the Japanese commander of the Guards Division, Lieutenant General Takuma Nishimura, was accused of ordering the massacre of Parit Sulong, despite Lieutenant Fujita Sizaburo admitting to carrying it out. Nishimura was found guilty and hung in 1951. Ultimately, Lieutenant Colonel Anderson and his understrength force had held back a vastly superior enemy, a force of crack Japanese Imperial Guards. This epic battle, one of the least known and most desperate fighting retreats of the Second World War, prevented the Japanese from cutting off the line of retreat of the main Allied forces towards Singapore. Lest we forget.
Thank you, Commander, for your very informative and beautiful speech. We were honored to have you present here. Untuk pengetahuan semua, event ini berkemungkinan adalah event yang terakhir bagi Komander Michael Doncaster, kerana beliau selepas ini akan bersara dan beliau akan pulang semula ke Australia pada 28 hari bulan. Wing Commander Mark Edwards akan menggantikan beliau sebagai pembantu pertahanan, pembantu penasihat pertahanan untuk Pesuruhjaya Tinggi Australia selepas ini. Mari kita sama-sama mengalukan kedatangan beliau. Sekarang dijemput Wakil Kepada Panglima Brigade ke-7, Major Muhammad Rizwan bin Mansur, untuk menerima cenderamata tanda kenangan dari pihak penerangan majlis. Dipersilakan.
Parit. Parit sini.
Untuk pengetahuan Major Muhammad Rizwan, itu adalah replika helmet besi askar Jepun yang digunakan semasa Perang Dunia Kedua. Seterusnya, dijemput sekali lagi Major Muhammad Rizwan bin Mansur untuk menyampaikan cenderamata kepada Komander Michael Doncaster dan Galeri Parit Sulong. Dipersilakan. Please boleh bersedia. Dijemput para tetamu kehormat untuk menerima cenderamata dan sijil oleh pihak peneras majlis dan juga dari galeri Parit Sulong. Dijemput wakil tetamu kehormat please represented Wing Commander Mike Edwards to receive our heartily cenderamata as a sign of appreciation and for the start of your service here. Thank you, sir. Dijemput para tetamu kehormat untuk menerima cenderamata dan sijil oleh pihak peneras majlis dan galeri Parit Sulong. Dijemput wakil-wakil tetamu kehormat yang terdiri dari wakil pegawai daerah bertepahat, wakil yang di-Ketua Majlis Daerah Yomping, dipersilakan. Silakan. Wakil pegawai daerah bertepahat, dipersilakan. Seterusnya, wakil yang di-Ketua Majlis Daerah Yomping, dipersilakan. Wakil Ketua Polis Daerah bertepahat, dipersilakan. Wakil Persatuan Sejarah Malaysia Kawangan Bertepahat, dipersilakan. Dan seterusnya, wakil dari galeri Parit Sulong, Encik Kamarul Bahrin, dipersilakan. Seterusnya, cenderamata daripada pihak Panglima Brigade ke-7 kepada Komander Michael Doncaster, dipersilakan. Seterusnya, cenderahati Panglima Brigade ke-7 kepada Wakil Galeri Parit Sulong, dipersilakan. And terima kasih Major Rizwan di atas sekalian sudi menyampaikan cerita sebentar tadi. And now we like to cordially invite Komander Michael Doncaster to present the certificate of appreciation to the committee members of this event. Diminta wakil OVR Electors Encik Hakim untuk menerima bagi pihak ahli jawatankuasa. Dipersilakan Encik Bahar untuk menyampaikan bendera kepada Komander Michael Doncaster menyampaikan bendera kepada wakil galeri batu pahat. Dipersilakan. Thank you, Komander. Tuan-tuan, puan-puan, hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, majlis akan diteruskan dengan sesi peringatan dan memorial di Tugu Peringatan Parit Sulong. Saya serahkan majlis peringatan dan memorial ini kepada peneras majlis Encik Azri Arba'in untuk meneruskan acara. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan boleh bangun dan kita akan bergerak ke tugu. Sekian, terima kasih.
Untuk semua ABK yang di tempat, kita akan memberikan acara memori sebentar lagi. Untuk maklumat tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, majlis ini diberikan untuk mengenang selesa dan juga pengorbanan kita yang telah berkumpul di sini pada 41 tahun yang lalu. Dan majlis ini akan meletakkan kalimat bunga berkaitan peringatan dan juga diikuti oleh 1 minit silent 1 minit untuk kita bertafakur dan berjam dengan Islam diminta untuk menjelaskan surah Al-Fatihah kepada mereka berkorban. Jadi kita akan mulakan sebentar lagi dengan acara pemilihan wig kepada Komander dan saya akan jalankan majlis dalam bahasa Inggeris. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are going to have a demonstration for the fallen returning soldiers. Now, Commander Memperingati.
representing Wing Commander Mike Edwards for the brief. Wing Commander Mike Edwards will be putting the brief on behalf of the 2nd 29th Battalion. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, with the laying of the wreath, the official function is over, and now we are requesting the VIPs to go to the barrack, the Public Works Department barrack, located across the bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome for being here for this wonderful morning. And we're going to see you again if there's any more function, and I hope that everyone should be appreciative of what had happened here, I think, 1 year ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. For the VIPs, we'll go to the public. For the VIPs, we are pleased to invite you to the Public Works Department barrack located across the river.
This way?
Okey, majlis perasmian memperingati Battle of MUAR ataupun perang di Parit Sulong yang meragut kematian yang begitu banyak dalam perang tersebut di pihak tentera Australia. Bersama-sama ini kita ada Datuk Zulkarnain Kamisan bersama wakil VIP dari Australia. Jadi kita sama-sama bergerak ke satu lagi dataran. Very young. Kita melalui jambatan, bawah jambatan Parit Sulong, tempat yang paling bersejarah dalam peperangan tersebut. Kita telah pun tiba di bangunan yang bersejarah ni, ya. Bangunan ini sebenarnya telah pun rosak dan uzur dan dibaik pulih, ganti yang baru oleh Majlis Daerah Yomping. Kita tengok wakil dari Australia.
Boleh. Previous already but they have a plate.
Yeah, it's on the thing.
Yeah, the small one. And
Great job. You all done a great job on preserving it.
We actually wanted to do a diorama model.
We find it very hard to keep. People like to take it. They're very hard to leave them. The brass ones in particular get taken away, as we found over at Surrender Point in Loveline. Had a big
Yeah. It's very fantastic.
stolen by people. Yeah. When the brass is worth money. Yeah. I understand this is all local and done. You guys have done this yourself.
Because he gave us all the prints, the original prints, high resolution photos.
Yeah.
And the text all been read proof by them.
Wow. We should do a selfie, the three of us. You ready? Jumping selfie. Oh, very good.
You want to the Japanese or the airline?
Kita berada di Perang Dunia Kedua, imbas kembali. Dua ni motor-motor zaman perang. Yes. Ya, Encik Alim, Encik Sakir. Tengok motor zaman perang ni. Hari tu aku ambil gambar yang masa siapa menantu yang lelaki tu. Tol pengantin tu lah. Aku dulu kan suka tengok. Dah tengok dah 4,000, 5,000 lah tengok. Ada ni cuti nak tengok ni. Ipan dah saya ajak tadi ke sini tapi sibuk mancing. Kejap nak balik sana pula. Okey. Apa Mr. apa tadi? Lupa pula nama dia. Akan bersara Ini ialah kenangan terakhir beliau di Malaysia. Motor zaman perang ni. Ya Tuan Suhaimi, teruskan. Masing-masing on live. Semua live. Kembali ke perangan dunia kedua ni. Keamanan yang mesti dipertahankan. Ini motor apa namanya ni? Tak tahu
Ni
Saya bapak motor yang tak kenal lah. BSA. Oh, ini orang sini punya ke apa?
Ni Parit. Tuan, Jess.
Bukan askar, ini motor askar Australia ataupun Jepun ni. Australia. Ownernya mana ni? Cuba hidupkan sikit dia tak? Yang sana masih bergambar-gambar lagi. Macam reunion pula. Tapi ni sebenarnya cucu-cucu mereka ni. Bukan orang sebenar lah. Cikgu, meh. Datuk Zulkarnain Kemana pula ni? Kita ikut dia. Oh, dia dah menuju ke sana, dah balik semula dah. Naik atas jambatan balik ke? Oi, gimana pula dia orang ni? Tak ikut.
Tapi tak apa, laluan sini.
Nyebrang sana balik naik balik atas jambatan Nak ke mana tu agaknya? Kita sama-sama lah tengok. Bahaya nak panjat-panjat sini ni. Okey, kita tak boleh ikut lah tu. Masuk bawah tak muat. Aduh. Rombang nanti kan. Wah. Oh, ini Jepun lah. Okay. Kita tengok lokasi peperangan di jambatan ini. Ya. Ya, mesti ada jamuan kot. Oh, tak pernah tahu pula sini ada ni. Apa ni, nota sejarah, batu pesurat lah kata kalau zaman dulu Bayangkan ada beratus-ratus beratus-ratus dan dikatakan lebih yang mati di sungai ini dalam peperangan tersebut di pihak tentera Australia dan juga Punjabi.
Asalnya butangnya macam ni. Tapi saya belakang saya cari yang original.
Mana itu yang original? During the excavation,
I was reading the net, saw the story about it. And I think it all.
Untuk Malaysia punya sejarah. Ini ke Malaysia.
Kalau hari biasa kat sini berdiri macam gila. Hari ni pasal sejarah boleh.
Daripada mana?
Dari sini je.
Oh, sini.
Dari mana?
Sini juga.
Kamu apa?
Tak, saya kerja kat sini. Kerja di daerah.
Oh, Majlis daerah. Majlis daerah Batu Bahan.
Betul.
Yang minat sejarah je yang ikut ni.
Sejarah juga.
Minat sejarah lah, minat dulu. Ada seorang kawan saya tu, dia betul-betul dia kumpul Cik Hakim dulu, roti tempayan. Dia meninggal, tu adik dia tu. Ada seorang tu. Dia memang minat sampai TV3 apa datang kedai dia lah, kedai roti tempayan. Tapi dia dah tak ada. Kalau tak dia yang paling anu ni ke depan.
Maksudnya aktif lah dalam persatuan sejarah tu.
Dia orang yang saya tengok.
Dah minat lah.
Minat je. Yang dia memang obses lah kata orang. Buku-buku sejarah tu ada lagi disimpan. Sekarang adik dia yang pegang. Kat dalam tu tak? Dalam bilik tu.
Galeri. Apa Encik Bahar tu Bahar tu bukan?
Bahar lah yang tadi tu pakai t-shirt hitam tu kan? Adik abang dia tu tak? Ini apa lah ni?
Ikutkan program ke malam masuk galeri dengan masyarakat.
Oh iyalah. Itu tadi kolonel apa? Mana ke Australia punya
Kedutaan.
Kedutaan Yang muda tadi ganti tu?
Yang pakai yang asalnya navy warna putih, yang akan ganti nanti udara.
Bukan yang tadi si muda tu?
Macam mana?
Yang muda tadi, yang handsome tu tadi.
Yang pakai cap tu kan?
Ha.
Maksud bang yang tu ke apa?
Ha.
Dia yang akan ganti mic dia.
Oh, muda lagi.
Rasanya lebih kurang juga tu.
Ha.
Tapi dia muda sikit.
Pasal kita live, jadi bergerak pun kita terpaksa on terus. Itu Datuk Zul beliau baru saja kehilangan anak sulungnya ya, dalam 2 bulan lepas. Itu kenangan akhir dia di Parit Sulong. Atas tu pun ada gambar perjuangan Parit Sulong. Ya. Saya rasa itu saja live saya. Sekian, semoga anda dapat sesuatu daripada live saya ni. Terima kasih.